Welcome to In Your Neighborhood. I'm your host, Charlotte Brown, and on today's show, we are talking with Cambrian Theatre and ParamountLive, talking about some great local theatre. My guests today are Candy Badani. She's the director of Cambrian Players, and she's the artistic director of ParamountLive, and Spencer Harry. Spencer's an actor at Cambrian Players and one of the directors at ParamountLive. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
So I'm curious how both of you got involved with local theatre.
Well, for myself, I've been involved for about 16 years. I started off in high school at the Northern Nights Feast, which Rob McLeod had started that. And I started off selling roses because I was too young to be a wench.
Wow.
And then I worked myself up, and then we did Grease there, and then we've just continued it ever since. So
wow, that's awesome.
That's actually where I met my husband as well. So
look at that.
Yeah.
See, all the bonuses to being involved with local theatre.
Well, I wish. Wouldn't that be nice? No, I met, that's where I met Candy as well. We all kind of got our start back in the day at the Northern Nights Feast, but I've been doing it for 150 years, ever since I was about this big. And theater's sort of my life. Like, I just love being able to play someone else at a whim, and it's just, it's the most freeing thing in the entire world. So I can't get away from it as much as I wish I could, you know?
Yes. And have you done some acting too, Candy?
Yeah, that's what I did start at. I was doing mostly acting, and then I got the directing bug, and that's what I've continued to do now.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. So I thought maybe we could start with talking a little bit about Cambrian Players. So maybe if you can tell me a little bit about its background, its history.
Yeah, Cambrian Players is actually the longest standing theater company in Thunder Bay. They started back in the 40s.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a very the community theater. So everything is volunteer based. Yes. From the costumes, the actors, directors, everything is done based on the volunteers. So it's a great organization to be a part of.
No doubt. What kind of shows does Cambrian do?
Well, it runs the gamut. We do a lot of very beautiful classic plays. There's Shakespeare that's done. We've started doing more musicals at Cambrian as well. So it's kind of whatever the feeling of the director at the time, because everyone has a chance to direct and to bring their ideas to the table. So it's sort of whatever is in the heart of the person who's leading the troupe at the time.
Yes. Right.
So it's sort of free and open, and it's so great because you never know what's coming up next. It's variety, it's spice of life.
And what goes into picking what goes into next? Is there one person that kind of decides, like, hey, let's do this, or is it a collaboration? You know, what is everybody up to doing next time?
So Cambrian Players is run by a board of directors,
right.
And everyone who's on the board is also involved somehow. They're either directors or actors or costume designers, set builders. So when you want to direct, you submit your play choices that you would like. There's 3 slots per season. And they will set up a play reading. It's just a fun, get together, have a potluck, couple drinks, read the plays. And if one gets decided upon, then that will determine what slot you're going to be in. And at that point, it's up to the director, and you go with their vision for the show.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit some of maybe the past productions or performances that you've been involved with that you love, just to maybe familiarize, if people aren't thinking necessarily that it's Cambrian, that they might have went to, that some of your favorites maybe.
One that stands out for me a great deal was called The War Show. It's a Canadian musical all about the Canadian involvement in World War I. And it was just a powerful piece of theater to be involved in, a very great group of people all together, telling this true life story. And it really hit a nerve for me as an actor, but it also really touched the audience because everyone has some connection to loss and to war and to things like that. And just to be in part of that group was brilliant. And I've made sure that I've been a part of Cambrian every season for the last couple of years because of shows like that. And the big comedies, I love doing that as well, making people laugh, making them feel good about themselves. But yeah, those are the ones that really that's the one really stands out as a special show for me.
How about you, Candy?
I don't necessarily have a favorite Cambrian show. I like the farces. Those are my favorite. So with a farce, it's a very comedic show. It's always you know, you never know what's going to happen next. And when something happens, it's never what you actually expect to happen. And people are running on stage in and out of doors, running into one another, and that you just laugh from the moment that they go on stage till the end. So I really, really enjoyed
I remember
those
seeing
ones.
one of those. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was hilarious. You know, because I just thought like what kind of work it took just to remember what doors you're supposed to go in and out of and not run into somebody else. It just blew my mind.
Don't even start. That's the hardest part because there's so many doors and you're just like, meh.
It was the Ladies' Man, I think, was the
Yes,
last
that's,
one. Yeah,
I think that was the one.
that was Spencer.
It was nutsy.
Stole that show.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But that's the challenge. That's the fun of it, right? Like it really is a workout because I've never been to the gym. But at least things like, you know, when you can run around the stage, there you go, you know. Work a few calories
That's
off.
right,
You know?
that's right.
Only a few people ran into doors, too.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
no one actually hurt themselves that bad. So.
That's right. Yes. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about the work that goes into putting into a production. Like, what does it take from choosing that play to that final night when the curtain closes? What does that all look like?
Well, this is my first time actually directing for Cambrian players, so I'm learning all of that right now, and it is a process. So just from picking the show, I mean, the Full Monty wasn't the actual first choice that I had. It was actually a different show, but then we decided on the Full Monty. So with the musical, it's a lot of extra aspects to the show because the music part of it is a big deal. So from that, the auditions, that process that's a lot of fun. We had a lot of new people come out, and every show they always get new talent that comes out. So that's really nice to see. From the auditions, you go into the casting. That's the hardest part.
Yes, because there's probably a lot of people that might fit into a role. You have
There's
to
only
choose
so
them.
many roles, and there's always more people that audition. So having to make those calls to say, you know, thank you so much for auditioning. We just didn't have the role for you. But most of them actually have been involved in other ways. They're helping with costumes or props or sets. So it makes so that they're still part of the show. Then with this one, it's happening at the Finlandia. So it's all the advertising ahead of time, selling the tickets, putting the actual production on, the rehearsal period. I mean, we rehearse at least 3 times a week right now.
Wow.
So it's a big commitment for a 4-month period.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. So you'd mentioned the next production, which is the Full Monty, but I see that we're running out of time, so we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to be right back with Candy and Spencer and talk more about Cambrian players and Paramount Live.